Hello everyone, this is David Rose with the Saylor Foundation. I'm the Senior Content Analyst here, and so I look for resources for our consultants who come on board to build courses for us on a regular basis. And so today I'm here to show you a few repositories that I commonly use and give you some tips and tricks to kind of navigate those sites to help you better find resources for your own course. So the first one that I wanted to show you was our very own media library that we recently just released. And so if you're on our homepage, you can just scroll down and click the media library link down here, or you can just type in library.saylor.org and come straight here if you would rather do that. And so we wanted to make this clean, simple, easy to navigate. So the best way we wanted to organize this was by discipline, first and foremost. And so if you were to come here, you can click on biology, for example, and then as you can see right now we have 542 biology resources, still very more to come. And so from here you can filter by resource type or license type. So for example, say you only wanted biology videos, you can click on this video link right here. And then again, further from here, say you only wanted CC BY videos, and so you would click on this. And so just from there, you've navigated down from 500 plus to 19 resources that all fit your needs of a CC BY video for your biology course. And then you can use the search function from there to filter even further if you would like. Alternatively, and one thing that I will stress throughout this training is that my first stop is generally always the search bar. Unless it's a site that I know I could easily navigate through, just like I showed you on this media library, I tend to always go straight to the search bar first, just because it's easy to find exactly what I'm looking for, especially if it's a more specific topic or subject. I don't want to have to navigate through a bunch of different links and then still have to find a specific topic within that subject. So it tends to be much easier for me to just go straight to the search bar. So this is our media library. That was just a brief rundown. Again, search by subject and then filter by license type and resource type. We just wanted to make it very simple. The next thing that I want to show you is our bookshelf. All of the books that are on the bookshelf are also in the media library, so if you wanted to just go that route, that'll be totally fine, but this is just an alternative place to look if you're strictly looking for complete textbooks. And most of the books that we have on here are flat world knowledge books, and so if you don't know the kind of background with that, Flat World Knowledge had a bunch of books under CC licenses, but then starting January 1st of this year, they put a paywall up. And so even though their books are openly licensed, students couldn't access them unless they paid. And so they released that news beforehand. So late 2012, we saved our own copies of all of their books that they had released up until that point, and we have them available on our bookshelf here. So like I was saying, that's where most of the books come from, not all of them. As you can see, this biology book is via OpenStax, and there's a few other books that aren't from Flat World Knowledge as well. And right now we have all of our books in PDF and Word documents, but as you can see, we are working on getting other formats like EPUBs and LaTeX format. So that is just a quick overview of our bookshelf. Another one that I want to show you is College Open Textbooks. That's collegeopentextbooks.org. This is a great source to find complete textbooks. What I usually do if I come to this site is I will go to Open Textbook Content, and then I want Open Textbooks by Subject, and say I want something on business, for example. I would just click that, and what's really great about this site is that next to every single book they list the license type, the complete license. So, I mean, as you know, CC is just Creative Commons, NC non-commercial, BY just means attribution, and SI share alike. But yeah, so it's super simple. Coming here, looking through all their books, and you can see the license type right next to each one. And another example to show you on this site. So like I mentioned, what I usually do is I would just go to the search bar first. So say I was looking for resources on acids, if I was looking for some kind of chemistry, organic chemistry course. So I could just type in acids right here. So I search for acids and I get to this site. And so one thing I want to point out is that there is no tag words that you're searching for. There's no, I guess, embedded tags within these books. It's only searching for the word acid within a title of a book. And so it's really only directing me to the broad subject of their biology textbooks. I could have got to this page just as easily by going through the subject search function like I showed you earlier. Another thing that I wanted to point out while I'm here is with Creative Commons works, I think it's important to never dismiss a book just based off of the title. For example, CK12 is a great resource for grade school subjects. And so if you were to be on this page and you saw this CK12 biology book, and you're only interested in creating higher ed courses, I think it's important to not dismiss it right off the bat, especially for a couple reasons, I guess. This honors course, they have a regular biology and an honors biology. That might have good sections for an introductory biology class for higher ed. But more importantly, the best thing, the reason to use OER is that it's always adaptable. So I mean, if there's really good sections in this Biology 1 Honors CK12 book, you could take the really good sections that are applicable to higher ed and then just adapt them. It's way easier than creating something from scratch because half of the work or more is done for you already. You have the base and you're just adding to it or changing a few parts to make it more challenging for your higher ed audience. So that's a really important feature of OER that I wanted to mention. And so next, after College Open Textbooks, a couple other sites that I wanted to mention are the Open Academy, which is the openacademy.com, and sophia.org. And I'll go through both of these sites, but the thing that I love about both these sites is that they're really good for AV content. And so if you want to add a little more visual stimulus to your students to split up the text, video lectures are always a great way to do that. And the Open Academy and sophia.org are excellent sources to find AV content. So again, the search bar, always a good place to go to. But Open Academy is really easy. They split it up by subject. So say you're looking for a video on math, and they have it broken down by broader subject, algebra and number theory, calculus, differential equations, and then their little picture icons make it really easy to see who it's from. I mean, we have Khan Academy, there's MIT, Berkeley, UCLA, ton of different content here. So for example, we can just click on this. And then they have a series of lectures completely listed down here. And so this is a repository, not so much, they're not creating anything. So like this is, like I was saying, this is from MIT. It's not created by the Open Academy. They're just collecting all of these video lectures and presenting it in a way that's easily searchable. So that is the Open Academy, and sophia.org, the other AV site that I mentioned, is also extremely excellent. Their search function is a little tricky to figure out, but again, search bar right here. If you want to go through the subjects, you just click on this down arrow right next to their title. and this big panel pops up. And so say you're looking for something something in the humanities, for example. You click on that and say I want something on history, and they break it down by top tutorials. So say you want to intro to exploration, and their video is right here. And one thing to point out about sophia.org is that as you see, I just clicked on this show more tab, and that's where the license information is kept. And so I'd say about 70–75% of the videos on sophia.org are Creative Commons. Moving on now to another one is the Open Education Database. And so if you're on their homepage, that's oedb.org. You can just click on Open Courses, or you can just go straight there, oedb.org/open. So again, search bar right here, or you can scroll down and browse by subject. So say you want something in business, you would come here. And so another thing that I should mention is that not all of these repositories or databases are strictly OER. They're not strictly openly licensed. Some of them have things in here that are open access, which means they're free, but they're not put under Creative Commons, GNU type of license, or they're not in the public domain. So it's kind of important, if you're looking for strictly OER, it's important to filter those out. So just for example, if you're on this page, something from Kaplan University, while big publishers like Kaplan and Pearson, they have a ton of free educational materials, which is awesome, they're not OER, they're not openly licensed, which means you're not free to adapt them to your own needs. And so, whereas something, obviously from Saylor would be OER. So the next site that I want to talk about is Boundless. You might have heard of Boundless in the context of a lawsuit against them. Pearson and a couple of other major publishing companies are suing Boundless right now, claiming that they use the structure of their books, even though they filled it with different content. The publishers are claiming that it's not only the content that is under their copyright, but it's also the structure and layout of the book. So that is still ongoing, so I guess my major thing for Boundless is use with caution, and just be aware of the outcome of that lawsuit. I think the content is still useful, and it's great that they have a lot of free textbooks, but again, just be aware of that and use with caution. But when I get to Boundless, they don't have a search bar readily available on their homepage, so this is one of the sites where I just navigate through the sections to find what I need. So if you go to the very, very bottom of the page, they have subjects down here, and you can just click on what you're looking for, and basically each one of these subjects is a complete textbook. So if I clicked on biology, then this is Boundless's openly licensed CC/BY essay textbook, and it's broken down by chapters and sections, and you can click on the specific section. So if you only want the chapter on properties of water, for example, if that's the only chapter that's relevant to you, you can just take that chapter, copy it into your learning management system, your whatever it is you're using, and then you can add it, adapt to it, change it, whatever you need to. So they do have very good introductory textbooks. All of these subjects down here, they're all pretty basic textbooks that would be used in a 100 course. So Boundless is very good for that. The next one then is the Orange Grove, which is another good repository. They have the search subjects right on the front. Their search bar right here, you can search by keyword. So if I'm coming to the Orange Grove and looking around, sometimes I kind of vary what I do on this site. I can go through and click on humanities and then just keep going through and looking through results like this, they do give you tips, which is nice. They say filter by keyword, located to the right of the screen, so I can click on humanities, and then from humanities, I can type in, whatever I'm looking for, like World War II or something like that. Or if you're on the home screen, another thing you can do, you can click on K-12 resources, higher ed resources. So it's nice that they split it up by that level as well. And they also have open textbooks as a subject too, or as a filter function. We are even featured on it, which is great. We always appreciate when people do that. So another one to mention is Connections. Connections is one of the more well-known ones, but they have easy search features. Again, you can just enter whatever you want into the search bar. They also break it down by popularity, which is not something that every repository does. Usually if I'm not going to use a search bar, I'll just do it by subject, which I found to be the easiest. So if I want something in business, and then they just have this nice, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 views, and they break it down every single thing that they have within business. So if I was searching for something within Connections specifically, say I wanted information on the Krebs cycle, and they have the filter results or the search results all show up here. You can see they have 16 matches. So say for example, I click on this. Oh, and one thing to mention is that in college open textbooks, I'd mentioned that when you search for something, they don't have keywords tagged to their resources, whereas this one does. I mean, as you can see, there's a huge long list of keywords, and so it picked up this resource, this introduction, because I typed in Krebs cycle, and they have in bold why they picked it up. So if I click on this, something to point out with Connections is the difference between collections and module. So this is a module, this one page, this one piece of content. And this is just an introduction to something. It's kind of confusing. I mean, it's not very clear. Introduction to metabolism, I guess. But if you look on this left-hand panel, it's nice because you can see that this one module is part of the bigger collection of the anatomy and physiology textbook. And so that kind of helps give context of the module that you're looking at, and also if you find the larger textbook, maybe you can find other sections that are relevant to what you're looking for as well. So that's one nice thing about Connections. I use it all the time. I think it's great. There's a ton of good content. I feel very confident whenever I come to Connections that what I'm finding is going to be really quality. And next I want to talk about Merlot. And Merlot is probably one of the repositories that's been around for the longest. They have a ton of information, resources, super useful. And what I always do, I honestly don't think I've ever found anything in Merlot a different way, but I will go to Advanced Search Materials and say I want something on personal finance. And then under subject category, I can select business because that's probably where it would be. And then I can select finance and personal finance. So it's really nice. I mean, this subject category matched my actual keyword, but if it didn't, it's really nice that you can continue filtering down so you don't have hundreds and hundreds of search results. I really love this about Merlot is that they keep putting up these sub filters, and they change depending on what your broader filter is. But then the best part, there's more. Once you have all that, you can scroll down here, and if you expand this box, you can check Creative Commons. Check yes for Creative Commons, and everything that comes up in the search results will match your filter criteria of personal finance and be Creative Commons. So there's only 5 results, but I mean the hope is that all of these 5 are really good for your needs. So that is basically the gist of Merlot. I love it. And as you can see over here, related topics for finance kind of pop up here. So if you find that not everything, you need more information after that initial personal finance search, maybe you want to look in money and banking, and there's 4 results that it shows you right there. You can just click on that, it'll take you to that page, and you can see if there's anything else that will be relevant for you. The very last thing that I wanted to mention is the Creative Commons search site they have set up. It's just search.creativecommons.org, and this is probably my favorite thing in the entire world. I think it's incredible. Very easy to use. You just come in here, type in anything you want. Say I just want something general like organic chemistry. Actually, I mean, usually this search.creativecommons.org is the most useful for very, very specific subjects. It's a little hard when you're in repositories to find something extremely specific, like if it's one topic within one chapter within one book. It can be a little tricky sometimes, but if you're just Google searching, which is basically what this is, it becomes a lot easier. So basically what this is just a search function across a ton of different sites and search engines, but there's a Creative Commons filter on it. And then if you look here, I want something that I can use for commercial purposes, I want something to modify or adapt. These are basically 2 functions that narrow your search results. For us here at Saylor, when I'm doing resource digging around, I uncheck use for commercial purposes because we are not using it for commercial purposes, but I do want things that I can modify, adapt, or build upon. So this is how I usually have my checkbox set up. And then as you can see down here are just a ton of different things that you can search for organic chemistry in. The things that I use by far the most often are Google and YouTube and maybe Flickr if I need images. So basically if I wanted content on organic chemistry or anything, I would type it into this box, make sure this one box is checked right here, and then I would just click on Google, and everything that shows up here, actually small caveat, not everything, it's the vast majority is. The search isn't perfect, just a disclaimer. Some things get through the cracks that are not openly licensed, but the vast majority of things are. So I would just recommend that you check to make sure that it actually does have the Creative Commons logo on it when you find it. But for the most part, everything that comes up on this search will be Creative Commons. Another thing that I find helpful when I'm using this, while Wikipedia is really good for a lot of things and has really good info on certain subjects, if you don't want to use Wikipedia because there is still a lot of anti-Wikipedia vibe out there in academia, if you don't want to use it, just a quick Google search tip. If you just, whatever you need, whatever you're searching for, if you just hit -wiki or minus anything, that just takes away any domain with that name in it. But just keep in mind if you're doing -wiki, it'll also take away wikibooks or wiki sites, anything. So if I just want Wikipedia out, I'll just do -Wikipedia, hit enter, and there's no more Wikipedia in there. And so this is usually really good for me because now, I mean, look at these results. There's MIT, OCW, there's UC Irvine, OCW, Boundless, which I showed you before, UC Davis, ChemWiki is amazing. This is an excellent way to find resources. And so that is basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask myself, send me an email, send Devin an email, send Sean an email. Any of us at the Saylor Foundation really would be more than happy to help. And that about wraps it up.